author, I'm an attorney, I'm the founder of a bunch of not-for-profit organizations. I'm also a TV host. But the most important thing I can tell you about myself right now, I am a black man in America in 2020. And that's a lot. And I'm raising two black boys in the United States of America. And I think we're at a moment where we can actually have a conversation about what that actually means. You know, black culture is celebrated. Black culture is beloved. The black experience that gives rise to that culture, I think is often disrespected, it's dismissed, it's minimized, or it's just not well understood. But I think we are now at a moment where there's a shift. We're going to have an extraordinary experience together today. We're going to do this town hall. It's called We the People. And what we want you to understand is we aren't just talking to talk. We want to talk so you can take action. And this is going to be an interactive experience. We're going to give you tools, information that you can use in the real world. We want you to screenshot stuff. We want you to invite people into this conversation because that's really, I think, what's needed. We need a bigger conversation, and we're going to use technology to do it. You know, for me, Black lives have always mattered. That's not new. Black lives have mattered from the beginning of time. What's new is the willingness of people to talk about it. And we have an opportunity to amplify the discussion and to move things forward, especially today. This town hall we're doing, We the People, is going to have some of the biggest voices for change in the country, all in the palm of your hand, including Killer Mike, who is just a legend in my mind. Jamel Hill is going to be here. We're also going to hear from Elaine Welteroth. Now, she's an author, but she's already made history. And she's made history because in the history of Condé Nast, with all the magazines they own and control, only two people have ever been named editor-in-chief, and she is one of them. So please welcome to this conversation, Elaine Welteroth. Look, I am so happy that I get a chance to have this conversation with Elaine. I mean, this sister is just bad. She's bad. She's a New York Times bestselling author, award-winning journalist. She's been a judge on the new Project Runway. I mean, she messed with Michelle Obama. She's just bad. So I want to talk to you about this moment. It's just been such a mix of inspiring protests and killings and stuff like that. Talk to us about your range of emotion over this past period of what I call this great awakening around justice.
It's been really heavy. It's been really emotional. You know, this is not new for Black people in America, right? We have been grieving for a long time around these same kinds of senseless murders. I wrote about, Philando Castile's murder, which really represented in my book, and I wrote about it from the perspective of being one of very few Black people in the office at the time, when I was so devastated. So it was so hard to get out of bed that morning, let alone proceed as business as usual. And I wrote about what it was like coming into the office that day, expecting or anticipating that other people might be feeling some of what I was feeling, just as humans, as, feeling, thinking humans, and feeling like everyone was able to move on like business as usual. It feels so relevant once again now, thinking, 4 years later, here we are again. But the difference is that the response from the rest of the community, folks who are non-Black, are finally seeing this moment as a wake-up call to get off the sidelines and to get involved and invested in this fight for justice. So I can say that since being in the streets and attending a number of protests, there is something different in the air this time. There are a lot of emotions I think we're all moving through or trying to move through to get towards the collective action that we all need to take. There is so much work for all of us. So I think we're all feeling that pressure, we're feeling that weight, but I think we're also feeling empowered that this time has to be different. It has to be different.
You've been on this I mean, you really have been not just an inspiration, but you've been offering really education to a whole new generation through Teen Vogue. And you were doing it when it wasn't. Now it's trendy. Now it's popular. But you were doing it when it wasn't trendy, when it was kind of shocking to see Teen Vogue taking on these issues. Why did you make that choice? Because you're saying other people now are going to have to make similar choices to be a little bit more brave and bold, but you were doing it when it wasn't cool. Why? And talk about that.
By speaking just about fashion, we were ignoring the range of interests that were central to them, the issues that mattered to them in the world, and so we made sure that we were creating more of an intersectional feminist focus, and that included fashion and pop culture, but that also spoke to intersectional feminism and social justice issues, Black Lives Matter. You're right that there was no model for success for that at the time. There were a lot of people that were like, "Oh, Teen Vogue, talk about politics, justice issues," and we got pushback. Folks thought it wasn't our place to, but the reality is that young